Hey guys, Mike Tierney here with Princess Auto. Welcome to Tech Tips with Mike T. It's all about tires. So as you can see, we've got a couple of different tires up here. There's many different sizes, types, bolt patterns on the rims. Which one is going to be best for your application? Well, in order to know that, you already had to kind of select some of the previous components. Maybe you've got the axle, maybe you're building a trailer, maybe you're just replacing a tire that you've had worn and it's time to replace that tire. Now, when it comes to tires, there's a lot of options, but specifically you're looking for trailer type tires when you're mounting them on a trailer. Try not to use vehicle tires. Vehicle tires are designed for trucks and cars and SUVs and all of that. But we want to make sure that when you use a tire on a trailer, it's designated as a trailer tire. And you can find that information on the tire itself. So selecting the tire. So do we go with a smaller type tire? Do we go with a larger type tire? Well, that's all going to be depending on your loads, your type of trailer that you already may have or that you're building. You're obviously going to have to be able to find a rim with the bolt patterns that are going to fit the axle that you may already have or you're looking to purchase as building a trailer. But once you get past that point, it's really important to understand the information that's on the tire. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you can expect to see on the tire, and we'll kind of talk about what those numbers and what those codes actually mean. So first off, pretty much any major tire manufacturer is always going to give you the sizing. So you're going to find that it's going to have an ST to start with, so special trailer or standard trailer, depending on who you're talking about, and that's going to be the code that designates that that's a trailer tire. If you had a LT or a P, that is more so vehicle tires, so light truck or passenger vehicle. We're always looking for ST when it comes to trailers. Then you're going to have another number. It may say 225 or 175 or a number that's usually 3 digits. This is the size in millimeters and the nominal width in millimeters of the tire. So when you look at the tire and its width, you're going to find that that's the width of the tire. Next, you're going to find a code, and it might say R, it may say D, and they represent the type of tire that's mounted to that rim. So if it's an R, that's a radial style. If it's a D, that's what we call a bias ply, and that's just how they manufacture the tires. A radial tire is much better for high speeds, heavier loads, whereas a bias ply tire, super popular, but it can't handle the high speeds as well as the heavier loads. It just gives you a nice softer ride. So for trailers that are mainly being towed on gravel and that with a lower weight load, bias ply tires are a really good option. So R for radial, D for bias ply. The last kind of numbers that you're going to see is, say, a ratio. So it might say 60 or 80 or 75. There's different numbers. This is the ratio of the width on the sidewall. So the sidewall size is rated as a ratio or a percentage of the overall width that's rated in millimeters. And then you're going to have your rim size. So it might say 13, 16, 15, whatever size that actual rim is. So that's the code you get that you're going to first look at to say, all right, this is how I size the tire. When it comes to the loads that you're going to put on the tire, they may be rated in a variety of different letter number combinations. It might actually say the load in a weight capacity in pounds. But it also may say that it has a load range, and a load range is typically rated in a letter sequence. The lower the letter, the less weight that tire can take. The higher the letter, typically you'll find that you'll see more weight capacity and speed ratings of that tire. Now, we talk about speed ratings as being part of selecting a tire. So we've got two tires that are on the desk here, and you can see that they, the one here is a 13-inch rim assembly. This one is a 16-inch rim assembly. So think about as you purchase these tires and what kind of trailer you're towing, that they're going to be going on. What type of vehicle do you have? Think about your vehicle, whether your rim size on your vehicles are 18s, 20s, 22s and larger. If you select a tire that's too small, so if we have I'll give you an example. So if you have a vehicle that has a 20-inch rim and tire assembly on the vehicle, and you're looking to purchase a smaller tire, if you go with a 13-inch rim, like the one, on this side, that tire has to spin almost twice as fast to keep up as you're towing as your tire on your tow vehicle. So what that can do is cause extreme wear. And we'll show you a tire later on some of the issues that you can get when you don't size your tires right. So always try to match your trailer tire as closely to your tow vehicle as possible. Now sometimes, because of the sizing limitations, but it's much better to go with a larger rim size like a 16-inch than it would be on a 13-inch, as long as you've got the clearance if the tires are underneath the trailer or underneath fenders. So keep that in mind when you are purchasing a tire or building a trailer from scratch. What is it you're towing it with, and how fast do you plan on traveling, at what speeds, and that load capacities. And you can typically find all that information on the tire sidewall with a bunch of other DOT codes and inflation codes. And if you're using a tire in a single axle versus a dual axle, there's different ratings on those tires that they give you. When it comes to a little bit of safety, towing is you got to do that safe, because if you have a tire that's underinflated, overinflated, starting to wear, you want to make sure that you check that out before you head out onto the road, before you load up that trailer. Another big issue that you can run into is if you're replacing one of your tires. You want to make sure that if you replace a tire, you replace it with the exact same sizing and ratings. If it's a little wider, you can start to get a little trailer drag. If it's narrower, that's going to cause the other tire to maybe wear prematurely. A big one is bias ply and radial. So double checking that the R and the D is the same on your trailer versus the tire you're selecting. They must be the same. You never want to tow a trailer with one bias ply and one radial. Always have the same type of tire on the trailer because you will get extreme wear and you can cause blowouts. So just be mindful. Check. We carry accessories like thread depth gauges. They do wear. Unlike a vehicle, they do wear slightly different, but definitely want to be maintaining to make sure that you're not running out of tread. These are not driving style tires, so they have very different treads. On most standard trailer tires, you're going to have the tread equal on both sides. Obviously, you want to mount your trailer rim with the valve stem on the out. You don't want to have that reversed. I'm going to lift up a trailer tire here with something that's really worn. So let me show you a worn tire and go over maybe some of the things that were happening with the tire and cause it to wear prematurely. So we have basically a huge bald spot here. We can also see the reinforcement plies of the tire starting to show. Typically, when you look at the tread and the top of the tire, you'll be able to see that it actually is tapered and one side is well worn over the other. This is typically because of a few different things. A, the trailer tire has been overloaded. B, the axle may not be in the right spot, causing the tire to camber in or camber out. In this case, cambering in was a major issue. So possibly overloading, maybe the axle was installed, upside down with the crown down. Variety of different reasons why that can happen, but typically overloading or misalignment of an axle can cause a lot of that cambering. The high speeds can also start to cause this to wear out. I would assume this tire was on an axle that had brakes. So there are sort of spots where it looks like he may have actually locked up the brakes on the trailer, hard braking. Maybe the brake controller wasn't set correctly, and he started to drag, or maybe the brakes were locked up and seized. So lots of different reasons can indicate on a worn tire, but you just want to really make sure that obviously this tire wouldn't have, even though it's inflated, this tire wasn't going to last much longer and definitely needed to be replaced. But when we replace them, we got to make sure that we're replacing them with that same size, that same kind of tire. Different brand, not a big deal, but typically all the dimensions that you're going to see on the sidewall should match this replacement tire. Now, another comparison to a tire, and this is more on the safety side, is again, we have the same type of tire that we've been using, this 13-inch rim. This is fine for going on the highways. It tells you that it's DOT approved, but sometimes we get equipment, smaller equipment like lawn tractors or small log splitters. Those small equipment that may be attached to maybe a quad or an UTV or the back end of a lawnmower. And they have this style of tire. So the tread is quite different. Obviously, it's not a tread that you would see on a standard tire. You also have a very different rim assembly. So this rim assembly has two bearings. So right in the center here, we have a bearing on this side, and we also have a bearing on the side that's facing me. And we have basically a pin that will come from the axle through, and then we use a cotter pin and a washer to basically lock this tire on that piece of equipment. This is by no means able to go on a highway at any speed whatsoever. Basically, you'll see on the sidewalls, they do show that they're not safe for public operation. So these are more for just putting around the lawn, putting around the back 40, through the bush for very small applications. Definitely do not want to use these to tow your trailer, your boat trailer, or some sort of small trailer, or even the equipment that these may be mounted on down the highway. These will instantly explode. The bearings will completely shatter, and then you're going to have an issue with it, incidences with accidents and that kind of stuff. So do not use this style of tire on the road. That's what we use our hub style tires for. They've got lug nuts. They go on the trailers. Thanks for tuning in to Tech Tips with Mike T. See you next time.